Let's discuss the rhetorical triangle and how it is a divine parallel to the Holy Trinity. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Structure. I am the Ancient Ninja. What is the rhetorical triangle? If you're not familiar with Greek philosophy, it is a concept honed, I wouldn't necessarily say created, by Aristotle. This triangle became a concept within itself because he goes over these three key points. Now, the points are philosophical within their own roots. However, when you apply them, they can be used for things like speaking, writing, interacting with people. It's a common philosophical read by actors and actresses. It's something that, although it may not be known by many people, is deeply involved in many things that we all do. So, I want to go over the concepts of what the rhetorical triangle is and discuss how these line up with the Holy Trinity. This is important because, not only does biblical culture, dictate most of everything, but also the Holy Trinity within itself symbolizes much, much more. It also raises the question of whether or not Aristotle was reaching for something more when he was discussing these points. Because after you see the parallels of them, it's pretty obvious that religion is within itself a very strong tool to help shape the way people interact and see the world. And that is proven in the way that not only it can be translated through philosophy, but also math and other things, which I am going to be doing other videos on. I've already started them. They're longer videos. So let's talk about the three concepts. First, we have the ethos. The ethos refers to credibility and trustworthiness of a speaker or writer. So it's essentially the foundation of what you're saying or putting down. Are you believable? Is what you're saying true? This has to be a first component. Now, notice it says the credibility and trustworthiness. We could get into those in much more depth if we wanted to, but that's ethos. Next, pathos. The pathos involves appealing to the audience emotions, beliefs, and values. It is the way that you put yourself with someone who is experiencing you, and hopefully authentically. But it's a more nurturing way of being able to have that balance with whomever is reading or listening to you. It's definitely essential when you are speaking. Even doing a podcast, if you were like robotic in the way you do it, it wouldn't go into these three philosophical points, which are very human and real, and the large component of most movies and literature in life itself. So the third one, which is going to be a familiar word to you, that you're going to be like, I'm starting to see a little parallel there. Logos. This focuses on the logical reasoning, evidence, and facts to support an argument. So this is different than ethos because ethos is focusing on the person writing it or speaking it, whereas logos is actually going into the content itself and understanding if what you're saying or what you're writing is logical. Is there anything to support it? What are you saying? If you're familiar with Socrates or any Greek philosophy, honestly, any philosophy within itself, that is something that is a factor in it. You do have to have the reasoning and not necessarily evidence and facts in the way that you would certain topics, but you definitely have to have a foundation that can allow you to have a discussion, a meeting of the minds. Philosophical discussions aren't exactly ones for people who don't have much intelligence. People who are philosophical are on the more intelligent side because it's not necessarily a subject you have to think about all the time. So it does require a lot of thinking and apparently speaking, because I just talked about it. Okay, so how do these three have a similarity or even parallel, which is a word I want to honestly stick to because it is so similar? Let's break them down. So, the ethos, the Father, a guiding and authoritative presence. The Father would be the ethos in real existence, right? Because the Father is that authoritative, guiding, all-knowing source energy. Next, the Pathos, the Holy Spirit. Influence, inspiration, and connection. The feminine, what is always been and associated with the feminine, which would very well fit with that emotion. So that being appealing to the audience emotions, beliefs, and values, the Holy Spirit would be right there in that living embodiment of what that means. And then, of course, without the most parallel of all, because the name is also what Christ symbolizes, the Logos, which is the Son, Christ. And of course, that symbolizes the Word, the truth, rational understanding. So, the Logos would be Logos in living form. Everything that is true, authentic, and real within itself that comes from the Father. So it is much like that, but is that Logos that speaking? Because what Logos really is when you translate it, it's basically the voice. There's obviously many different translations of Logos, but I believe, so I can make sure I'm not wrong. So yes, the Logos, the Greek word actually Logos, is translated as word, speech, or reason. So this is such a beautiful parallel nature of these two, because the Son, the Christ, is the Word, is the truth, is rational understanding, the Logos. So yes, I hope that you see the parallels of the triangle, the rhetorical triangle, and the Holy Trinity, but even furthermore, just that within themselves. Don't even look at it as the Holy Trinity. Whenever I say the Holy Trinity, it often gets lost as something that is just fully religious, which gives us a reason to step back and see religion in the way that it needs to be seen. Kind of almost subconsciously how Aristotle must have seen it. Because the semblance here is so, it's so the same, right? And religion is something that has been ingrained within society since the beginning of it. So it is a big mechanism of not only knowledge for people, but also control. And we see that it almost finds itself philosophically in ways like this, because we see the divine has a real effect on the way we interact with each other and the world. That's how it embodies itself, even down to the point of the same wording, the logos. That just, was something that made me extremely happy, and I hope that you liked that too. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think Aristotle knew this, that he was hinting at this, or that it's something that was subconsciously in his head, because around that time and even now, it is something that is always in people's heads, and it definitely fascinates me. For those of you who are wondering if you are, I am not religious. I just am very fascinated with religion and enjoy studying ancient texts, religious texts, things like that. So yeah, that is all for this video. I am really excited to finish my video about the math and how it relates to the divine, how we can see even the wording in mathematical equation. And I even go deeper than that. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you have learned a little bit about Greek philosophy as well. And be sure to like and subscribe the video. And as always, keep it pointy.